Welcome to the Young Crones Cafe, where you can get a magic brew full of all sorts of information, both witchy and practical.
Grab a cup of coffee and join us. I'm Elizabeth, a wordsmith.
And I'm Dave, a modern-day sage.
We are going to talk about various witchcraft and life topics from a slightly more mature perspective, at least most of the time.
Thanks for joining us.
Here's a little something from the Young Crones Cafe to get you through until our next regularly scheduled episode. Today, I'm going to mention and talk about the three major parts of any ritual. Most rituals can be divided up into three basic sections: an opening, a working, and a closing portion. If it is something you do or prepare that allows you to get into the frame of mind for a working, then it is part of the opening section. These can include setting up, blessing or cleansing, anointing, and circle casting, if you feel it's necessary. Setting up includes preparing yourself and your space, cleaning up by taking a ritual bath and making sure the area is neat, as well as gathering all the items to set up an altar if you do, and what you need for the working. Blessing before the beginning of the actual ritual allows you to get rid of any of that mundane junk you may inadvertently collect from the world around you during the day, and to settle your mind in place. People often use the smoke of incense or a combination of all of the physical elements to bless themselves. Anointing yourself with an essential oil or water can be a signal to your brain that ritual is about to begin. Creating sacred space where ritual can be performed by casting a circle, lighting the altar candles, burning incense, or inviting various energies to work with you are all different forms of declaring the ritual itself as beginning. Try different ways to perform each piece of an opening so that you can find ones that are most effective in generating that signal to your brain that ritual is happening, and then try using them consistently and see what happens. After a while, you may find yourself more easily able to slip from the mundane into the magical world of ritual. Once you've done the opening, you move on to a working. A working is the meat and potatoes of a ritual, which is used to fulfill the purpose of the ritual itself. Most workings can be classified into one of four main categories: celebration, devotion, divination, or spell work. A celebration demonstrates an important event by engaging in enjoyable activities, such as finding some way to mark the balance of light and dark energies at an equinox Sabbat. A devotion can be performed to the eternal divine, the old gods, the ancestors, whatever you choose, using incense, chants, or some other manner. Divination involves seeking the answer to a question or guidance for your personal path, using tarot cards, runes, a pendulum, or any other divinatory tool that you feel comfortable using. Finally, spell work is often performed at a moon ritual for a specific purpose. A working usually involves the raising and releasing of energy. Raising energy can be done in all sorts of ways, from humming or chanting to dancing or drumming. The energy is gathered up to power the working. It is then released out of your sacred space to complete a spell or as a gift to the universe itself. It is like putting a period at the end of a sentence, which informs your brain and the world around you that the working is completed. While every ritual needs a purpose, it does not necessarily have to contain a working. Sometimes it is just nice to sit and commune with the energy around you. Finally, to finish it all up, you need to do some sort of closing. The closing needs to include parts that will allow you to ground any excess energy, usually by eating and drinking something, and actually ending the ritual. All of these move you back into the mundane world from the magical space you have been working with throughout the ritual. We call eating and drinking something housel, which most practices call having cakes and ale. Its purpose is not only to give thanks to the universe for food and drink, but also the physical act of eating is one of the best ways to reconnect to the mundane world. Grounding excess energy is one of the most neglected parts of a ritual experience for many people. Not taking the time to do it can leave you feeling physically jittery or mentally disconnected from the world around you. Some people ground by actually touching the earth itself and allowing the energy to flow back down into it, while others take the time to take deep cleansing breaths, releasing the excess with their out breath. Ending the ritual with some sort of closing statement is your actual declaration that the ritual is done. This is also a good time to thank any energies which you have been working with. Some deconstruct their sacred space in the same order in which they created it. As with the opening section, again, try different combinations of things to figure out what works best for you, and then work with them consistently. This will allow the routine closing to assist in the process of returning to the mundane more effectively. To sum it all up, an opening prepares your physical self to move into the world of the magical. The working section is where you are in the magical space of any kind or whatever you create around you. This is where you begin the process of transformation. And ritual itself is usually a transformation of some sort because you have moved from the mundane to the magical. The closing moves you back into the mundane and gives you an anchor and a signal to the universe that this is where the magic needs to manifest that you began during the working. While it is not necessary to perform each and everything that we have discussed as part of these 3 parts of ritual, it is important to consider that there should be an opening, a working, and a closing. This establishes a routine for your brain, as it were, to allow you to move back and forth between the 2 sides of the hedge.
Well, it looks like the coffee cups are empty for this week. We hope you join us again next Tuesday. But you can find us at our website, 2youngcrones.com. That's the number 2, Young Crones.
We'd love to have you join our growing online Discord community. Check out our new Patreon presence. Just look for Young Crones Cafe. Through Patreon, you'll be able to make it to our Discord. We are also Young Crones Cafe on Twitter and Facebook.
Until then, remember, we are witches who work with energies to effect change.
We are believers in both immanent and transcendent divine.
We are celebrants of the passage of the solar and lunar cycles.
We are hedge walkers who pass back and forth between the worlds of the magical and the mundane.
We are seekers of knowledge.
And we are walkers of a spiritual tradition we call the Path.
So mote it be.
So mote it be.